Hey Canucks fans, the Vancouver Canucks are finally back in action tonight with a chance to move up in the Pacific Division standings. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Saturday, December the 28th. Now, before I preview tonight's game and preview what's ahead for the Canucks over the next 2 or 3 weeks, I want to talk about two things. Number one, this World Junior hockey game. I was bowling today with my lovely daughter Kayla. Didn't get a chance to see the game, and we bowled quite well. Thanks for asking, and we were in a tourney. But I'm aware that Russia demolished Team Canada 6-0 in today's game. And more importantly, I understand, and I saw some footage, and I saw some reaction to Canada's captain Barrett Hayton not taking off his helmet during the Russian national anthem after the game. They play the national anthem of the team that won. So of course, Russian players were upset, and 3 or 4 of them, including the captain, did not shake Hayden's hand in the handshake lineup after the anthem was played. So here's my take really quickly. Again, not seeing it live, just reading reaction and seeing footage of the handshake line itself. I think it was a very bad lack of judgment shown by our captain Hayden. If it was ignorant, he should know better. If it was intentional, that was very disrespectful. And I don't blame the Russians for being upset. However, I do not think he should be stripped of his captaincy. Despite he should be obviously the emotional and physical leader of this team, and that was a poor lack of judgment, like I said. I really think if he offers a sincere, heartfelt apology to the Russian hockey team, that we could lay this issue to rest. They're not going to play each other again until the medal round, if at all. So I really think that this issue could go away as the tournament progresses. But Hayden does have to offer an apology. He said later after the game they didn't know why the Russian players were upset with him. So it concerns me a tiny bit. It shows a real lack of awareness if that's true. You know, he should have known that he's seen all the Russian players with their helmets off. Should have seen his own Canadian teammates with their helmets off. So you'd hope he'd have the wherewithal to understand what was going on. So like I said, again, if true and he doesn't know why the Russian players are upset, then that shows a lack of awareness. If he did it intentionally, that shows a lack of judgment. What I think he needs to do is apologize sincerely and heartfeltly, and then we can go on from there. But let me know what you think. I know it's a very polarizing issue. I've seen already the reaction on Twitter. Where do you fall on this? Do you think he should be stripped on the captaincy? That would be an extreme. Do you think he should, it's no big deal, that's the other extreme? Or are you kind of in the middle like I am, but leaning towards, do something? He should at least offer an apology to the Russian hockey players, the Russian hockey team, the Russian Hockey Federation. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the other thing you may have seen I announced on Twitter earlier today, starting tomorrow night after the Canucks-Calgary game, every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Pacific time, I will be doing a live Clay's Canucks commentary for 45 minutes to an hour, 10 o'clock Pacific. So sorry for all of you watching in the East, all 1 or 2 of you. Anyone watching overseas, you'll have to catch a replay. But 10 p.m. Pacific time as the week is winding down or the week is gearing up, whichever way you want to look at it, I'll be looking at the Canucks week that was, the Canucks week ahead, and anything else you want to talk about Vancouver Canucks. So join me on YouTube. I always tweet out the link, or you find me on my YouTube channel live, 10 p.m. Sunday nights starting tomorrow night, a live version of Clay's Canucks commentary. And then it truly is my take all in one take. Okay, let's talk about tonight's game. The lovely and talented, my co-collaborator, my collab partner in crime, Marie Huey, will be singing the 2 anthems. So already we know the night's gonna get off to an awesome start because she is the best in the business. And I think most of you would agree with me. So Marie's singing the anthems. I'm not going to the game, but I'm excited to watch it from home because not only tonight's game, but the potential what could happen from tonight's game. So let's talk about tonight's game first. The Canucks will ice the same lineup that played in the win over Edmonton way back on Monday. So that means Jacob Markstrom's in net, 3 very balanced pairs on the blue line of Edler with Stetcher, Hughes with Tanev, Fantenberg with Myers. Then up front, you have your Lotto line of Pettersson, Besser, Miller. Your second line with Horvat, with Pearson and Eriksson. Our favorite third line of Gaudette, Vertan, and Roussel. And our favorite fourth line of Beagle, Schaller, and Mott. That means Ferland's not playing. That means Sutter's not playing. That means Jordy Ben will be a healthy scratch. So the Canucks want to build on their 3-game win streak. Prior to that, they had lost 3, so they've been up and down, but they coming off, trying to continue on, trying to build to a 3-game win streak that saw them with wins over a good Vegas team, a good Pittsburgh team, and an okay Edmonton Oilers team. Now, let's talk about the Oilers. Let's talk about the Pacific Division overall. The Canucks, including tonight's game, 7 of their next 8 games are against teams that, as of tonight, are below the playoff bar. So what an opportunity the Canucks have to make some ground in the Pacific Division, to move up the Pacific Division standings, because they go LA tonight, in Calgary tomorrow, and then in January, their first 6 games are Chicago, the Rangers, Tampa, Florida, Buffalo, and Minnesota. Now, there's some decent teams in there, but they're below the playoff bar. So we got a couple caveats here. Tampa, Florida, and Buffalo are all in that weaker Atlantic, except for Boston, that weaker Atlantic division. So they're all within 2 points of Montreal. So by the time the Canucks play either Tampa, Florida, Buffalo, 1, 2, or 2 of them, well, actually that's impossible. At least one of them will be past Montreal. Actually, maybe a couple of them will be. Only one of them will be in a playoff position. But you know what I mean. There will be a couple of them that are kind of in contention for that playoff spot. So we understand that when we say right now they're not above the playoff bar, it's true. But we also know that they're, just like Pacific Division, they're really bunched up in the Atlantic. The other thing is some of those teams, like Tampa Bay, have some games in hand as well. So it's never a perfect science when we're talking about that. And that's kind of, I'm going to kind of talk about that when I talk about the Pacific Division now. So all to say, the Canucks, 7 of their next 8 are against teams that are not above the playoff bar. So what an opportunity. If the Canucks can get 10 or 12 points out of these next 8 games, out of the possible 16, they have a really good chance to move up in the Pacific Division. And they got to take advantage. So let's talk about this Pacific Division. 5 teams are separated by only 4 points. You have Arizona 46, and then you have Vegas right up there. Then you have Calgary, and you have Edmonton, and you have Vancouver. Like I said, 5 teams are only separated by 4 points. When you do the math and extrapolate it, the Canucks have games in hand on all 4 of those teams that are above them. We don't care about the 3 California teams below them, Anaheim, San Jose, LA. They're too far back, at least right now they are. But you look at the 4 teams above the Canucks, Arizona, Vegas, Calgary, Edmonton, the Canucks have 1, 2, or 3 games in hand on all 4 of those teams. So if you do the math and you presume, let's say we presume that they all get to the 41 game mark at the same time, again a presumption, and let's presume that they all win all their games, which is impossible because some of them are playing against each other. But just work with me here. The Canucks can finish as high as second once all the games are played at the 41 game mark halfway through the season. Meaning that if the Canucks win all their games in hand, the only team they cannot catch is Arizona, because they're 4 points behind Arizona with only 1 game in hand on them. So the most they can get to is 2 behind. But that's still pretty good, right? Given how the Canucks had a really bad November and an up and down December, the fact that the Canucks are still right in the playoff mix in the Pacific Division is a really, really good sign, especially given the weaker competition the Canucks are going to be facing over the next 2 or 3 weeks. Now, we admit the Pacific Division is the weakest of the 4 divisions. You look at the way St. Louis is atop the Central Division, and you look at the way that Washington's on top of the Metro, and how Boston is crushing the Atlantic. All 3 of those teams have 55, almost 60 points in the standings, whereas Arizona, the Pacific Division leader, only has 46 points. That's not our fault. It's not our fault that we're not in the best division, and that actually works to our advantage. So that's why the Canucks are right in there. The other thing that's really encouraging about the Canucks is the goal differential. You look at the end of the year, and usually positive goal differential means you're in the playoffs. A negative goal differential means you miss the playoffs. That's intuitive, makes common sense. Right now, there's only 2 other Pacific Division teams that have a positive goal differential. Arizona with a really strong one, and then Vegas only at a +3, and then Canucks are +9. The other 5 teams, including 2 teams ahead of them, Calgary and Edmonton, have negative goal differentials. So I think if that continues, that trend, obviously, if that trend continues, you're going to see Vancouver move up and past the Calgarys and the Edmontons, at least, in the standings. That's why I'm excited, for all those reasons. 7 of the next 8 games for the Canucks, you'd say, are winnable, and even the one that isn't, or the one that is a playoff team, Calgary, the Canucks are right behind them in the standings. So all 8 games are winnable games. We can't presume the Canucks are going to win all 8, but if they win 5 or 6 of those 8, get 10 or 12 points in the standings, they're going to, by the middle of January, find themselves likely in 2nd or 3rd place in the division, and that would be an awesome way to start the new year. So 7 out of 8 against non-playoff teams. A lot of those games at home, especially in the first week of January, right? Home today, away in Calgary tomorrow, then another 3 at home. After that, I think it is, before they go, another 2 at home, at least Chicago and the Rangers, before they go on the road. So 3 of the next 4 are at home. They can build on the 3 wins going on that they just had, and they can look at the standings and say, wow, we have an opportunity to really move up against some, against our Pacific Division rivals. And they're playing against a couple of them right now too, right? They have LA tonight, who are below them, and they have Calgary tomorrow. So 2 big games coming up on this weekend. The next 8 games are pretty big, and then the And then the competition admittedly gets a lot tougher, and you're playing against the Winnipegs of the world, you know, the teams that are in the playoff hunt. So the Canucks have an awesome opportunity, and it starts tonight against a weaker LA team. These kind of games kind of scare me sometimes, right? You think it should be a guaranteed win, or it should be a win because they're playing against a weaker team, but you never know. But LA, as we know, was here on opening night, was the team that spawned this whole team like that slogan. So we know that Vancouver always plays well against Jonathan Quick and against Drew Doughty and against the LA Kings. Okay, so some food for thought. We'd love to know your comments, your thoughts on all those things. Whether it's Barrett Hayton and the World Junior Championships, whether it's checking in with me with my live Clay's Canucks commentary on Sunday night, whether it's tonight's game against the LA Kings and the dawning of and the spawning of a team like that. Spawning doesn't sound so good. Let's go with dawning of a team like that. How the Canucks need to bury, you know, inferior opponents, and the way the Canucks are playing against non-playoff teams going forward. And one last thing, I just recognize that if someone else in another city was vlogging about their game against the Canucks coming up in the next 2 weeks, they'd be saying the same thing, that they would lump Vancouver into, you know, a non-playoff team because that's where the Canucks are right now. So I guess I shouldn't say that they're all bad opponents, because we don't want to think that Vancouver's a bad team as well, but it just goes to show the parity in the league, and just goes to show how quickly things can change. And it will change quickly, because like I said, 4 points separating 5 teams in the Pacific Division. All right, Canucks fans, let me have it below. Let me know what you think about anything I talked about over the previous 11 and a half minutes. We'd love to read your comments. We'd love to react to them, and would love to reply to them as well. Subscribe if you'd like to, like this video if you'd like to. I'll check in with you after the game with my post-game vlog, maybe a couple intermission reflections depending on how the night's going. And then tomorrow, I'll check in with you before the Calgary game, after it with my live Clay's Canucks commentary. Enjoy tonight's game. God bless. Go Canucks go.